This is the PL-89 Gematriatic Quantum Thought Calendar, and it's basically the way I present it is a theory of everything, presented in calendar form. It's biblically based. Verses in the book of Leviticus and in Exodus are the basis of how it is put together. Started in I got the first copy of this in 2012 in around late August, early September. I attribute it to the Hebrew month of Elul of the Hebrew year 5772. And it was late August, early September of 2012. So if this was my son, it had a bar mitzvah this past September. And it's basically a lunar and solar calendar, and it has room for many other calendars all in one calendar. It's like a calendar of calendars, you might say. But the main calendars that I'm using on a daily basis is the Hebrew calendar in which we have all the Jewish holidays are on, and Rosh Chodesh, the new month, the new moon. It's a lunar calendar, and it's here. It's one of the boxes, and another one is the Gregorian calendar. It's a solar calendar, 365 days. Oh yeah, the lunar calendar has roughly 354 days. Sometimes it has 355 days, but generally 354. And the solar calendar, of course, has 365. It's also a solar calendar. And there was a solar calendar before the calendar that we have now, which is the Gregorian calendar. The solar calendar that was the world calendar that was in effect for some 1600 years before the calendar that we have today, on which it's December 19th today, was a Julian calendar. And it's still used in some circles for certain reasons, for certain purposes, but it's mostly not used. And that had to do with a certain drift that the Julian calendar gained a day every some 129 years, something like that. It gained a day, and it still is gaining a little bit every year, but we don't use it. That would throw off the time for holidays. I think during the time it was to calculate the time of Easter correctly, for the church to correct that. And so we have the Gregorian calendar and the Julian calendar on this calendar, and the Julian calendar and the Daf Yomi calendar. What's interesting is that the Daf Yomi is a practice of. It's mostly for Orthodox or observant Torah Jews, but many people today learn Daf Yomi. But mostly Jewish people that are observant and practicing what you would call Orthodox Jewish. It's, I would say, the majority of those who study Daf Yomi, which is the practice of studying one page of Talmud, and with 2,711 pages in the Talmud, the entire Talmud is completed every 7.5 years. And that 7.5 year period is pivotal, or it's thematic, or it's important, let's say, in this calendar as well, because it's very close to 7 years, which is sabbatical year, and the portion in the Bible that talks about the sabbatical year it's in Hebrew. It's called the Parsha of Bahar. Bahar starts in Leviticus chapter 25, and it goes up until Leviticus 26 something. And often the two parshas of Bahar and Chukotai are put together into one parsha. And there it talks about redemption. It mentions the word redemption, or a variant of it, many times, more than any other Torah portion in the Bible. And it was the inspiration for this calendar. And so when I see things like the Daf Yomi. It was started in 1923, the Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year of 1923, which was the Hebrew year of 5684. What's fascinating about that is that the year that Daf Yomi started was the same year that the very last country that accepted the Gregorian calendar started in the year that the Daf Yomi started. And I'm inclined, my way of thinking is that that's not a coincidence, it's not an accident. And there's something that the Daf Yomi has that I'm not sure what the word is, but it has some kind of a time. I've called it in the past a time capsule, but I'm not sure if that's the right word. But it's something like a refrigerator of sorts. It holds something in place. Whatever may have been lost in 1923. Again, this is all just total imaginative speculation. I'm reaching for something which I must say that there's not a lot of coverage on this. This is a very niche topic, and I haven't seen many people having interest in this very specific niche. This is like the people who would be studying Daf Yomi wouldn't be so interested in secular history necessarily. They might be, but not in this way. In trying to find something that I'm trying to discover something. Let's just put it that way. I'm trying to discover something. And I've been at it for a while, and every now and then I see different clues, different things that are different perks that kind of like prod me on, prod is the word, but keep me going. Either motivational things or different signs that show that to keep on going down this rabbit hole, if you will, or going in this pursuit. And it is something profitable, and at times it's interesting and exciting. At times it's a bit frustrating because I'm not really sure where to draw the information from, but have been doing that for a while. So today, going to the calendar today on the solar calendar, today is December 19th. So December 19th will always be or any 19th. That's the whole thing. It's a generic calendar, so it's just you put any calendar you want into it, and you just plug it in. So any 19th day of the month in Dispensation 3 is going to be in box 16 right here, which would be A7. A7 box 16. That's the 19th day of any month. It was the 19th of Kislev, which was a Tuesday this year. It is the 19th of December, which is a Friday this year. And the Islamic calendar, whatever it is, whatever that's on the 16th, it'll also be on any calendar, always. And that's the solar calendar. 19th, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, right? Okay, 19th always in box 16, in Dispensation 3. I will explain the dispensations at a different time. Okay, so that's the solar. Now the lunar today is the 29th day of Kislev. It's the 5th day of Hanukkah. Happy Hanukkah, everyone. And the 5th day of Hanukkah, or the 29th day of any month, regardless, is going to be 21. The box 21 here in Dispensation 3. And so there's something in Jewish tradition. It hasn't been seen always as a hermeneutical principle, but in fact it is. There is a list of hermeneutical principles that observant Orthodox Jewish people say every day in the morning prayer, called the 13 Principles of Rabbi Ishmael of exegetical hermeneutics, of deriving things from the Torah. And the first one is called Kal V'chomer, which is There's an English word for it. Something fortio. Ad fortio? No. Something. Anyway, yeah. So it's basically if A is strong, no, if A is weak and can pick up 100 pounds, then B, who is strong, could for sure pick up 100 pounds. It means strong and weak. And that's the first one. They're basically logical principles, and they go through. There's one where there's a general and a specific. If there's a general, specific, and then a general, then you can't learn out only the specific thing is by itself. Things like that. And it doesn't list gematria, but there is a brisa, either Rabbi Eliezer ben Rav Yossi or Rav Yossi ben Rabbi Eliezer, one of those. I think it's Rabbi Eliezer ben Rav Yossi. He lists a brisa with 28 hermeneutical principles, and gematria is in fact there. And so I apply gematria, and I've seen that in Hebrew, gematria for me is just like a standard way of, it's just a standard thing. It's a natural process. But what many people may not be familiar with is English gematria. People may not think that English gematria is anything. And I've heard that before. Many people who I'm around are very ultra-Orthodox Jewish people, and they'll say, no, gematria is only Hebrew. English is nothing. It's not even a language. It doesn't mean anything. Hebrew is the only thing that means something. But what I've found is that English has some amazing results if you do gematria. And I've had someone ask me that before, and I've given some incredible examples that are, it should be said that it's biblically based though. Biblically based, as it were, understanding of the English language can show secrets that are hidden in the English language. I'll give you an example. For example, according to the Bible, it's in Samuel, the book of Samuel, I forget which chapter now, and it's also in Chronicles. It says the amount of time that King David reigned altogether. 7 years in Hebron, I think in the English way of saying it, Hebron, and it was 33 years in Jerusalem. And that 33 and 7 equals 40. So he reigned for 40 years altogether. But if you count the English letters, not Hebrew, English, of David, D-A-V-I-D, D being the fourth letter, A being the first letter, V being the 22nd letter, I being the ninth letter, and D being the fourth letter. If you add those letters up, you'll get the number 40. So it's fascinating how David ruled for 40 years, and the letters of his name bear testimony to that number. I think that's absolutely fantastic. I mean, it's like you don't even have to look for any mystical secrets. It's almost like these secrets are hidden in plain sight. It's like just common knowledge that it's really like quite obvious. It's right in front of you. And if you go down that path and you continue to study in that way, you'll find some incredible results. And we're talking now about Joseph in Egypt. Well, what would you think if I mentioned that Joseph equals Egypt? That's, in the Torah portion reading about Joseph and his brothers, if you spell Joseph the way it's spelled in English, Joseph, you add those letters up, it equals 73. And the word Egypt equals 73. I mean, that's just phenomenal. It's phenomenal, and I think anyone with any logical sense could look at that and say, this is not an accident. There's some intention behind that. There's some planning there. There's a real. So I've been over the years, the past year, several years, uncovering the secrets of the English language from a biblical standpoint, and perhaps English seen in a biblical light can be the reason that there are these meanings that are hidden, encoded within the English language. Because it's some kind of derivative in some way from Hebrew. You might say that. I think a Hebrew enthusiast might say the English came from Hebrew somehow. And numerically, you can see it. You can demonstrate it. There's many other examples, but that's not the thing of this video. But the reason why I mention this is that this PL-89 calendar, the two boxes are put together, are added, and the result of that adding bring a name, an English name or a Hebrew name, but spelled in English letters. It could even be a Hebrew name, like let's just say the English for Abraham is spelled a certain way, but in Hebrew it's Avraham. So I would even be inclined to write Avraham out in Hebrew and get the numerical result of that as well. But today, every day now, has its own numerical result, and they could be secular names. They don't have to be necessarily biblical names. They could be names like, I don't know, Winston or something. But I don't know why the name came to mind, but Russell, how about that? Russell. Okay, anyway, Winston Russell. Anyway, okay, so let's hear. 16 and 21, those are the 2 days. 16th is the 19th of December, and 21 is the 29th of Kislev. Add that together. What's 16 and 21? 37. So the name today, the result is Greg. 16 plus 21 equals Greg. Greg equals 37. So what is about, so I want to see if these names that come up are meditated on, is there a pattern? This has been a long study for me about when names come up on what days. And so today is Greg, and it'll be listed as such. Thank you.